That is the scene outside the courthouse down in Brunswick, Georgia, as jury selection is underway in the trial against Travis and Greg McMichael and William Roddy Bryan, all three accused of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. At the end there, you saw Ahmaud's dad with the crowd of demonstrators outside. They've been supporting him, cheering him on. But those folks outside making their presence known, and known in a big way. The question tonight is any of that outside the courthouse impacting jury selection inside? Court TV legal correspondent Julia Janae is live in Brunswick, Georgia tonight in the middle of all of it. Julia, what sort of impact, or is it an issue, what is happening outside the courthouse as the judge and the attorneys try to pick a jury inside the courthouse?
No, Vinny, this is what the defense is objecting to. Not really any evidence that it has actually influenced any of the potential jurors who are coming into the Glenn County, Georgia courthouse, but they want to make sure that what is happening outside, the protests, the signs that you see in some of the video that we've been showing, that a potential juror may not see it and then be influenced to be a certain type of juror. That's the concern. There's also a concern about this banner that has been outside of the courthouse. It's about 10 feet long. It's up facing the front door of the courthouse, the main entrance that the public would use. It is many yards away, but the defense counsel raised the objection in court as well to this image of the congressman and civil rights icon John Lewis and the voting rights paraphernalia that is in not only this, but some of the other signs that people are holding, the things that they are wearing. They say that that goes to the heart of some of the things in this case. The judge saying that this is something he has to balance with First Amendment issues. And if the defense wants to stop people on the outside from being able to exercise their right to demonstrate, then they need to file a motion. So there has been no change. I talked to the people who put up the banner. They plan to be back outside tomorrow. But we will see if the defense is going to file that motion and how those arguments go.
Julia, this is, it's a relatively small town. I gather that from, that part of Georgia. What's the layout? Where do jurors walk in? Where do they walk out? Is there a different way to get them in? Is there a back entrance? Is there an underground entrance? Is there a side entrance? Because it just seems like it's very wide open and very kind of small townish.
This is a small area. This is not a large municipality where you have parking garages and parking lots across the street. There is a separate entrance for these jurors. They aren't really supposed to go in through the front door, but I say supposed to because they did question one of the jurors who went in through that front door, but when she was questioned, she said that she didn't see anything at 8:30 in the morning. I can tell you that video that we've been showing is really from around 10 o'clock. That's when Ahmaud Arbery shows up, so that's when you really see the swell in the demonstrations and the chants. So these potential jurors are likely, the majority of them, not seeing what's happening because it's on one side of the courthouse and potential jurors are coming in on a different side. But it's not impossible for them to know what's going on because, like you said, it is not a large area and you can really see many parts of the courthouse depending on where you are on these grounds.
All right, let's bring in our think tank, get some reaction. Renee Hill, Carmen Rowe, Molly Palmer still with us. Molly, you're in Georgia. So what should be done here? Is it fair? Is it fair to the defendant? Is it fair to the demonstrators? How do we make sure that no one gets influenced by what's happening outside when they have to deliver justice inside?
Well, Vinny, when it comes to the Bill of Rights, I like all of the amendments to the Constitution. I think that we can have due process for these gentlemen, and due process is separate and distinct from a certain result that you would see as justice, right? They can have a fair trial and you can still get the verdict that society wants. But I also think that you should have the First Amendment right to assemble and right to protest and demonstrate outside of the courthouse. And I think you can have both. And I think what we have to remember is that it's the defense who would have to move for a change of venue. And it's the defense who have not done so yet. So until that happens, they knew that it was going to be a fairly charged scene outside. And yet here we are choosing the jury in Glenn County rather than somewhere else.
Well, Renee, I don't think it matters where this trial is going to be because many of the people who showed up there came via bus from different parts around the country. I mean, these aren't folks that live down there who are demonstrating outside. So, is there a way that a judge, a court, or personnel can allow folks to demonstrate outside in a small town like this and still shield the jurors from what's happening?
Well, absolutely. I mean, first of all, the whole point of jury selection, right, is to make sure that you get fair and impartial jurors and you vet them to make sure that anything that's going on outside is not going to influence their decision in the case.
Well, let me
this is
ask you this.
happening
Let me
right
ask you
now.
this. How do you ask them that? Do you ask them, were you influenced by the crowd of people demonstrating and asking for justice for Ahmaud Arbery outside? Is that the way you do it?
Yeah, sure. You have to question the panel. You came in this morning. When you came in this morning, did you observe anything happening outside? Is there anything happening outside that would have any effect on your ability to be fair and impartial in this case? You have to ask these questions, just like they're going to have to ask other questions regarding race, regarding bias, implicit bias. They're going to have to get into all of that. These are things that they cannot get away from no matter where they try this case. So yes, they absolutely have to ask these questions. And I think that it would be prudent for the judge to ask questions of all of the jurors that are in the potential pool right now.
All right, Carmen, would you be concerned as a defense attorney here? Would you be concerned that jurors may not be 100% honest?
Not at all, Vinny. I mean, look, every high-profile case we see, we have a mob of people outside. We've seen them all over court TV. We've seen R. Kelly. We've seen Cosby. We've seen everybody on here. But this is an issue more like George Floyd, which was a much bigger presentation than what we're seeing in this smaller town.
That jury was brought in. They were shielded. They did not. They weren't exposed to anything outside the courthouse. Trust me. Trust me.
Contrary to what the defense argued over and over and over. But look, I mean, race is an issue that is at the center of this case. We've heard some of the questions that are going to this veneer panel. They have a lot to do with race, and that's what they're talking about outside. So, I think it's all part of the process, and I think it's welcome as long as it's peaceful.
All right, let's bring back in Julie Janae, who's in Brunswick. So give us the scorecard here. Where are we in this process of jury selection?
Vinny, it's been a long day. We are just getting word that they are done for the day and 8 have been qualified. So that is a total of 23 that have been qualified by this court. We're trying to get to 64, so they still need another 43. The scorecard for today, as far as this pool of 20, here's some of the stats on them. 9 of them were victims of a burglary or home invasion. 14 of them, over half, own a gun. 3 of them raised their hand to say, yes, they want to serve on this jury, and 4 looked up case documents online. There's also a lot of contention inside that courtroom today about the questions back and forth between the state and defense. Here's a little bit of that back and forth in the moments when defense attorney Jason Sheffield was trying to question the jury, but the prosecutor wasn't having any of it.
Ms. Denikoski introduced herself as the individual that represents the interest of the state of Georgia. We, as criminal defense attorneys, represent the interest of the Georgia Constitution and the U.S. Constitution.
Objection.
Yeah, but I understand where the question's going. Let's go ahead and ask the question. And the suggestion, if there is any suggestion, otherwise, let's move on.
Yes, Your Honor. And in doing so, we are criminal defense attorneys, and oftentimes people have negative thoughts or feelings about criminal defense attorneys. That's okay. If you are one of those persons, if you would please raise your hand. Thank you. 235. All right, here's the first question of brutal honesty that we're going to ask you today. From what you've heard and seen before coming to court today, have you formed a negative thought? Okay, let's start with just a negative thought then. 212. Well, I'm going to let them, yes, ma'am? Well, we're going to drill down on that when we get into individual. So negative thought about this case.
Your Honor, I object at this point.
Well, I'll get more specific. A negative thought about this case. Yeah,
Well,
I think
Your Honor,
it's...
at this point, I object to that.
Let's stick to the agreed questions for general order. was more specific than that. So it is making what was agreed.
You guys jumped the gun on me before I could finish my question, but I thought it was important to recognize it. Okay, my full question was a negative thought about Travis McMichael.
Sparks flying there in the courtroom. There was even a point where the prosecutor allegedly laughed, according to the defense, while he was asking a question. He tried to object, and that juror had to be taken out of the room so the judge could tell these parties to move things along.
Wow. Just a preview of what's in store once these opening statements begin. Julie Janae in Brunswick tonight, thank you so much.